right away, Proverbs chapter 15 starts off with something that is so wise. Obviously, this entire book is about wisdom, but a soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. So you can be in a disagreement with someone and you can either answer them, a soft answer, or be harsh. And this is something that I had to learn when I got married. You can either add fuel to the fire or you can, have a soft answer. And you know what? After being married for almost 11 years, I can tell you that the soft answer definitely is the better way to go. It gets you much farther, and it's in the Word, so I'm not surprised that that's what actually works and helps to resolve something. And also, just a little side note, you don't always have to be right. You're not, even if you think you're right, you could be wrong. You don't always have to prove that you're right. Have that soft answer, because having peace is so much more important than being right. I think this goes back to who you talk to. Who do you go to for advice? Do you look to people who give good advice? Do they give good knowledge? The tongue of the wise makes knowledge attractive. And one thing that I think of too is sometimes, if I'm talking to a friend or if I'm listening to a sermon, maybe it says something that kind of hurts my feelings a little bit. And this is something that I'm starting to teach my 8-year-old. I'm teaching him about constructive criticism. Sometimes you hear things that are not always, it kind of hurts our feelings a little bit, but in the end, it'll help us to be better people. That's what I'm trying to teach him right now. And so it kind of reminds me of this because, when I hear something that kind of hurts my feelings or, if it, makes me think, makes me want to change, I like hearing that. The tongue of the wise make knowledge attractive. Knowledge is not always something that's easy to hear, but the mouth of fools pours out folly. If you're looking to someone who really is not, especially people who are not, in the Bible and follow the ways of the Lord, if you don't know the word, then you don't follow it. That's why we study the Bible every day. So it's important to recognize and realize who it is that you are getting your advice from and who it is that you are maintaining that close relationship with. And when I think of the eyes of the Lord are in every place, I think I talked about this in the last video, that I wanted to start thinking about what I think about and have a better control of my thoughts. Even though others can't hear what I'm thinking, obviously, thankfully, God can. And I want to have good thoughts because He's there. It says the eyes of the Lord are in every place, including your thoughts, keeping watch upon the evil and the good. A gentle tongue is a tree of life, but a deceitful tongue crushes the spirit. This kind of goes along with what I was talking about before, having that gentle tongue and controlling your tongue. Not having to have the last word. If there's an issue, please, talk about it and bring it up and try to resolve it with that person, but you don't have to resolve it in a way that causes strife. I think verse 5 definitely reminds me of verse 2. Wow, I feel like these set of verses kind of invoke a healthy fear. It's talking about God despises people who are not righteous. He despises the way of the wicked. A mocker does not like to be corrected, and he will not go to the wise. A glad heart makes a cheerful face, but by sorrow of heart the spirit is broken. And again, I think verse 12 goes along with verse 2 and verse 5. I feel like they are very much so linked together. And then the next is talking about your heart. And one thing in particular, it says, all the days of the oppressed are bad, but whoever has a cheerful heart has a continual feast. And you can have a cheerful heart with bad circumstances. The condition of your heart and the joy or lack of that you have is not based on your circumstances. Or instead of saying is not, I guess I should put should not be. I know that 2020 was a trying year, and I know people personally who've gone through a lot of really sad things, and they're still continuing to have the joy of the Lord and have faith in God. If you're one of those people, then, that's amazing. God sees you and he loves you so much. I like this one. Better is a dinner of vegetables with love than a fattened ox with hatred. I'm sure maybe I'm interpreting this wrong, but I guess immediately what I think of is, what are you consuming? Who are you surrounding yourself with? Vegetables with love, right? I mean, vegetables, they're necessary. They have important nutrients. Do we want to eat them all the time? No. And a fattened ox, you can think of it as, okay, whether or not you eat meat, that's just representing something that's hearty, and something that's a little bit more desirable to eat than vegetables. And so I think all this is saying is it's better to live in love than with hate. It's saying that we are better off living with love, even if we just get the vegetables, than to have all of this stuff that sounds good, but we have hate in our heart. Foolishness and wisdom, again, which is the theme of Proverbs. And the Bible is just reiterating how important it is. A hothead stirs up contention. And in the last chapter is talking about, being quick to rush into something can cause issues. Also the way of the sluggard, I think maybe, laziness. Without counsel, plans fail, but with many advisors, they are successful. And again, I think this has to do with, surrounding yourself with a fellowship of believers. And I know I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. You don't always have to be friends with all believers. You don't, I'm not saying that you can't be friends with someone who's not a believer. I'm just saying it's good to also surround yourself with people who do believe, especially when it comes to wisdom and getting, counsel for your life. If you're going through something and you know someone who believes in God and you think that they will give you good advice, then, go to them as long as you can trust them. A cheerful look. So, sometimes you could be walking down the street and you smile at someone, or maybe it's happened to you where someone smiles at you, or although we're all wearing masks now, so you can't really see anyone smiling at you. But before the pandemic, maybe you're having a bad day and someone just says something pleasant or they smile. It says that it brings joy to the heart. And this is such a valuable lesson that I learned, the ear that listens to a life-giving rebuke. And that doesn't always feel good, like I mentioned before. If someone tells you something, it's, and it hurts a little bit, but maybe it's for your own good, don't get offended. Don't get offended by every little thing that someone says. Maybe they just, maybe they did mean to offend you, but, sometimes someone is just saying something to help you. Offense is definitely a stumbling block. It has caused, arguments, division, which I've talked about so many times, but it causes a lot of issues in relationships. And so, sometimes people do mean to offend you, like I've mentioned, but sometimes, maybe they just want to help you. Maybe they're just telling you something that you need to hear so that you can change. Not everything that someone says to you, you should take to heart and get upset at, but it says that the ear that listens to life-giving rebuke will be at home among the wise. If you refuse correction, you despise yourself. You won't grow. You won't change. You won't learn. And if I had this kind of mindset all along, and of course I'm not perfect and I still need to, remember this so that I don't get to a point where I think I don't need to hear, any kind of life-giving rebuke. But I know that it used to be me. I've come a long way. If I kept on that path and didn't change and just got offended, I wouldn't grow and I wouldn't improve. So that was it for Proverbs 15. Please let me know what you learned. I like doing it like this. I feel like it works. Maybe it works for you too because you get to see the word and I write next to it. And I don't know. What do you think? I post a new Bible study every single day in the month of January in 2021 at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But normally I post Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I can't wait to study the Bible with you again.